From the skies over Korea to the battlefields of tomorrow, American jet fighters have defined air superiority for nearly 8 decades. But how did we go from subsonic gunfighters to invisible stealth platforms that can defeat an enemy before they even know they're under attack? In this video, we'll trace the revolutionary leap from the F-86 Sabre to the F-35 Lightning II, exploring 5 aircraft that didn't just define their eras, they transformed the very nature of aerial combat. The Korean War introduced the world to the first large-scale jet versus jet combat, and the F-86 Sabre emerged as America's answer to the Soviet MiG-15. This wasn't just another fighter. It was a statement that the United States understood the new physics of supersonic warfare. The Sabre measured 37 feet 6 inches long with a wingspan of 37 feet, powered by a single General Electric J-47 GE 27 turbojet, producing 5,970 pounds of thrust. What made it special wasn't raw power. The MiG-15 actually had better thrust to weight and could climb faster. What made the Sabre deadly was German engineering adapted for American pilots. The wing swept back at 35 degrees, a design borrowed from captured German research. This sweep delayed the formation of shock waves that plagued straight-wing jets as they approached the speed of sound. The result? The F-86 could reach Mach 0.95 in level flight, making it one of the fastest fighters of its era. But speed alone doesn't win dogfights. The Sabre's secret weapon was its flying characteristics. While the MiG-15 was faster in a climb and had a higher service ceiling of 51,000 feet compared to the Sabre's 49,000 feet, the F-86 could outturn it. The hydraulically boosted controls gave American pilots precise authority at high speeds, something Soviet pilots desperately lacked. When Captain Joseph McConnell Jr. became America's first triple-jet ace, shooting down 16 MiGs, he did it by exploiting this maneuverability advantage in turning fights. The armament was pure Second World War thinking 6 M3, Browning .50 caliber machine guns mounted in the nose, each carrying 300 rounds. No missiles, no radar-guided weapons, just 1,800 rounds of kinetic energy delivered at 1,200 rounds per minute combined. Pilots used the A4 gun sight, which computed lead based on target range and angular velocity, but kills still required getting within 1,000 feet of an enemy jet and holding the trigger. In Korea, the Sabre achieved a kill ratio of 10-to-1 against MiG-15s, but veterans knew the truth. This ratio included poorly trained Chinese and North Korean pilots. When Soviet aces flew the MiGs, the ratio dropped closer to 2-to-1. The Sabre was excellent, but it revealed a hard truth. The era of the gun-armed dogfighter was already ending. By 1954, faster became the only requirement that mattered. The F-100 Super Sabre was America's first operational fighter capable of supersonic speed and level flight, a psychological and tactical barrier that redefined what air superiority meant. Stretching 49 feet 6 inches with a 38-foot 9-inch wingspan, the Super Sabre was powered by the Pratt & Whitney J57 P-21A afterburning turbojet, producing 10,200 pounds of thrust dry and 16,000 pounds with afterburner engaged. That afterburner, essentially raw fuel sprayed into the exhaust, was the key. It pushed the F-100 past Mach 1.3, or roughly 864 miles per hour at altitude. The wing swept back at 45 degrees, sharper than the Sabre, and featured a low-mounted design that improved roll rate. But here's where physics became unforgiving. The F-100 suffered from inertia coupling, or roll coupling, a phenomenon where high roll rates at supersonic speeds caused the aircraft to pitch and yaw uncontrollably. Early models killed several test pilots before engineers added a taller vertical stabilizer and extended the wingspan by 26 inches on the F-100D variant. Armament evolved beyond machine guns. The F-100 carried 420mm M39 cannons with 200 rounds each, but more importantly, it could carry AIM-9 Sidewinder heat-seeking missiles on underwing pylons. This was revolutionary. Pilots could now kill from a mile away without pointing the nose directly at the target. The Sidewinder's infrared seeker tracked the heat signature of enemy jet exhausts, giving American pilots a first-look, first-shot advantage. During Vietnam, the F-100 primarily served as a ground attack aircraft, carrying up to 7,500 pounds of bombs, rockets, and napalm on 6 underwing hardpoints. It wasn't the dogfighter the Air Force wanted. That role went to the F-4 Phantom II, but it proved that speed and payload could be combined in a single airframe. The Super Sabre flew over 360,000 combat sorties in Vietnam, more than any other Air Force jet. But Vietnam exposed a critical flaw in American fighter doctrine. The Air Force had become so obsessed with missiles and speed that they'd forgotten how to dogfight. The F-100 rarely engaged enemy MiGs, and when it did, its heavy weight and focus on ground attack made it vulnerable. The kill ratio against MiG-17 and MiG-21 was embarrassing compared to Korea. Something had to change. Enter the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, an aircraft so versatile it served with the Navy, Air Force, and Marines simultaneously, and so dominant it remained in frontline service for 36 years. The Phantom was a beast. At 63 feet long with a 38-foot 5-inch wingspan, it weighed 30,328 pounds empty, but could take off at a maximum weight of 61,795 pounds. Double its empty weight. 2 General Electric J79 GE-17 turbojet engines, each producing 17,900 pounds of thrust with afterburner, gave it a top speed of Mach 2.23 or 1,472 miles per hour. This was a fighter that could catch anything in the sky. The wings had a distinctive 12-degree anhedral. They angled downward, combined with a 5-degree dihedral on the horizontal stabilizers. This gave the Phantom legendary stability at high speeds, but made it a wallowing pig in slow-speed dogfights. The engineers designed it to kill from beyond visual range, not turn with nimble MiGs. And here's where American doctrine went catastrophically wrong. Early F-4s had no internal gun. Zero. The Air Force believed missiles had made guns obsolete. The aircraft carried AM-7, Sparrow radar-guided missiles, and AM-9 Sidewinders, up to 4 of each. In theory, Phantom crews would detect enemy aircraft on their AN/APQ-120 radar at 50 miles, launch Sparrows at 20 miles, and never enter visual range. In practice, rules of engagement in Vietnam required visual identification before firing. This negated the Phantom's beyond visual range advantage. Worse, the AM-7 Sparrow had a failure rate exceeding 50%, and the AM-9B Sidewinder wasn't much better. Phantom crews found themselves in turning fights with lighter, more maneuverable MiG-17s and MiG-20s, fights the F-4 wasn't designed to win. The kill ratio told the story. In 1965, it was 3.7 to 1 in favor of American fighters. By 1968, it had dropped to 2.4 to 1. Pilots were dying because designers had forgotten the first rule of aerial combat. You can't kill what you can't hit, and you can't always hit with missiles alone. The solution came with the F-4E variant in 1967, which added an internal M61A 1 Vulcan 20mm Gatling gun with 640 rounds. Combined with improved pilot training at the Navy's new Top Gun school, Phantom crews regained the edge. By 1972, the kill ratio climbed back above 3 to 1. But the Phantom taught the Air Force a brutal lesson. Multi-role capability doesn't mean compromise. It means excellence in multiple domains. The F-4 could carry 18,650 pounds of bombs, rockets, and missiles, making it as effective at ground attack as air-to-air combat. It flew missions over Vietnam, the Yom Kippur War, Operation Desert Storm, and served with 12 nations worldwide. When an aircraft serves that long and that widely, you know, the designers got something fundamentally right. Fast forward to 2005, and warfare had changed completely. The F-22 Raptor represented a paradigm shift. It wasn't about being faster or carrying more weapons. It was about being invisible until the moment you struck. The Raptor measures 62 feet 1 inch long with a 44-foot 6-inch wingspan and stands 16 feet 8 inches tall. But those dimensions hide revolutionary engineering. Every surface angle, every edge, every intake and exhaust is designed to scatter radar waves away from their source. The aircraft's radar cross-section is reportedly smaller than a steel marble, meaning enemy radar sees nothing until the F-22 is already inside weapons range. Two Pratt & Whitney F119PW100 turbofan engines produce 35,000 pounds of thrust each, with afterburner. The most powerful fighter engines ever built for an American aircraft. But here's the magic. The F-22 can supercruise, maintaining Mach 1.82 without afterburners. This means it can dash through enemy airspace without the massive infrared signature that afterburners create, remaining undetected by heat-seeking systems. The thrust vectoring nozzles can deflect up to 20 degrees in the vertical plane, giving the Raptor post-stall maneuverability that defies physics. Pilots can point the nose 60 degrees off axis from their direction of travel, putting missiles on target even when the aircraft isn't pointed at the enemy. In close combat, this makes the F-22 nearly unkillable. It can point and shoot before opponents even realize they're in a fight. The AN/APG-77 active electronically scanned array radar can track multiple targets simultaneously at ranges exceeding 125 miles while maintaining low probability of intercept, meaning enemy aircraft don't know they're being tracked. The F-22 carries 6 AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles internally, plus 2 AIM-9X Sidewinders with an internal M61A2 Vulcan cannon carrying 480 rounds as a backup. Everything is carried internally. External weapons create radar reflections so the Raptor's weapons bays keep it clean. When the bays open, weapons are launched in less than 2 seconds before the doors close again, minimizing radar exposure. In red flag exercises, F-22s regularly achieve kill ratios exceeding 30-1 against fourth-generation fighters. Pilots report being killed by Raptors they never saw on radar, never detected with their systems, and only realized were there when the exercise controllers called Fox 3 over the radio, indicating a simulated missile launch. Only 187 F-22s were built before production ended in 2011, making it one of the most exclusive fighter clubs in the world. Each aircraft costs approximately $150 million, and their stealth coatings require extensive maintenance after every flight. But when you need absolute air superiority against a peer adversary, nothing else comes close. The F-35 Lightning II takes a radically different approach. While the F-22 is a pure air superiority fighter, the F-35 is a sensor fusion information warfare platform that happens to carry weapons. 3 variants serve different missions: the F-35A for the Air Force, conventional takeoff; the F-35B for the Marines, short takeoff crash vertical landing; and the F-35C for the Navy, carrier operations. We'll focus on the F-35A, which measures 51 feet 4 inches long with a 35-foot wingspan. Powered by a single Pratt & Whitney F135PW100 turbofan producing 43,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner, the F-35A can reach Mach 1.6. It can't supercruise like the F-22, and it's not as maneuverable in a dogfight. Critics call it a jack-of-all-trades, master of none. They're missing the point entirely. The F-35's AN/APG-81 AESA radar, AN/AAQ-40 electro-optical targeting system, AN/ASQ-239 electronic warfare suite, and 6 distributed aperture sensors create a 360-degree spherical awareness bubble. The pilot doesn't look at individual sensor feeds. The aircraft's fusion engine combines everything into a single tactical picture displayed on the helmet-mounted display. This means an F-35 pilot sees through the aircraft. Cameras mounted around the fuselage feed imagery directly into the helmet visor, allowing pilots to look through the floor at ground targets or through the rear of the aircraft at threats behind them. The jet becomes an extension of the pilot's senses. But here's where it gets revolutionary. Everything the F-35 sees is instantly shared via data link with other F-35s, fourth-generation fighters, Navy ships, ground stations, and even artillery batteries. An F-35 detecting enemy air defenses 200 miles away can transmit that data to a B-1 bomber, which launches standoff weapons without ever entering the threat zone. The F-35 doesn't always pull the trigger, sometimes it's the quarterback calling the play. The aircraft carries 4 weapons internally in stealth configuration, either 4 AIM-120 AMRAAMs, 2 AIM-120 AMRAAMs plus 2 2,000-pound GBU-31 JDAM bombs, or 2 AIM-120 AMRAAMs plus 2 GBU-12 laser-guided bombs. An internal JU-22/A25mm cannon with 220 rounds provides gun capability. For missions where stealth isn't required, external pylons can carry up to 18,000 pounds of additional ordnance. In combat over Syria and Iraq, F-35s have proven their worth. Israeli F-35s penetrated Iranian air defenses to strike targets deep inside enemy territory, missions that would have been suicidal for fourth-generation fighters. The Israelis won't confirm details, but the message is clear. Stealth and sensor fusion have rendered traditional air defenses obsolete. The F-35 program has built over 1,000 aircraft for the United States and allied nations, with production continuing through the 2040-50s. At approximately $80 million per copy, it's expensive but not insane. When you consider it replaces the F-16, F-A-18, A-10, and AV-8B Harrier in various roles, the economics make sense. From the F-86 to the F-35, we've witnessed 7 decades of revolution, not evolution. The F-86 pilot needed eyes, reflexes, and guts. The F-35 pilot needs information dominance and the wisdom to use it correctly. Weight has exploded. The F-86 weighed 10,950 pounds empty. The F-35A weighs 29,300 pounds. Top speed peaked with the F-4 Phantom II and has actually decreased since. Modern fighters prioritize stealth and sensors over raw velocity. But the most profound change is philosophical. Early fighters were weapons platforms. Modern fighters are nodes in a networked battle space. The F-35 doesn't defeat enemy aircraft. It defeats enemy decision-making by providing commanders perfect information while denying it to adversaries. The future belongs to artificial intelligence, directed energy weapons, and optionally manned systems. But these 5 aircraft, the Sabre, Super Sabre, Phantom, Raptor, and Lightning II, define the era when humans rode into combat at supersonic speeds, trusting their lives to engineering, training, and sheer courage. Thank you for watching. Creating a comprehensive overview like this meant condensing 77 years of innovation, so if you notice details we missed or have stories to share, drop a comment below.